Hello. Today's Friday, May 3rd. That's it. That's the intro.
We're gonna do government or social media, robots and artificial intelligence, and nonsense today. And we'll start with something we've already talked about. In I you know
Literally every episode.
I didn't put this in government because it's not really the Canadian government saying this. It's just people saying, why isn't the Canadian government saying this?
Yes, so this is from Bloomberg, so the reading it is tricky. Facebook breached Canadian privacy laws, Watchdogs say. This is really the only thing here, as far as I can tell, is they're looking at what Facebook has disclosed, not the Cambridge Analytica stuff, but like the new stuff, the stuff that the New York Attorney General is looking into.
Scraping the address book, and then what was the one right before that?
Also, the kids stuff,
Oh yeah, the paying off the kids and stealing their data.
and so Canada has better privacy laws than America. And so these watchdoggers are saying, wait a minute, why isn't anybody looking into this Facebook stuff like the New York Attorney General is in Canada? Because in Canada, we've got better privacy laws. So what's going on? There probably is a story there. But surprisingly, this article seems to be the first. And again, the walls get a little bit closer around Facebook.
Yeah. If we charge them $5 billion, what do you say what's the ratio? How much does Canada charge them?
I think Canada will make them buy at least 4 tons of maple syrup.
No, I think Canada's very protective of their maple syrup.
I think if they were very protected, well, no, they have to. You have to pay inflated prices. Like that's the fine.
They pay for 40 truckloads, but they only get 20. This is not a news story. It's just Pew Research, which they do a lot of interesting research, talking about Twitter users, which I felt was, relevant to the interest of this table. The most shocking thing is how many tweets come from so few people. This is kind
The
of
super
like
users.
it's like the concentration of wealth in the world.
U.S. adult Twitter users are younger and more likely to be Democrats than the general public. Most users rarely tweet, but the most prolific 10% create 80% of the tweets from adult U.S. users.
I'm trying
That
to think
sounds right.
do I know anybody in that 10%?
The scary thing is that my rate of tweeting is far below a lot of other people
It
in
really,
the
I mean,
industry.
you tweet a lot, but like some of the people that we follow on our Level 1 Twitter, I mean, it's literally multiple times a day.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And
I
they
forget
point
I have a
out
Twitter for like a month at a time.
now that once again you have to take into account that these are people who volunteered to be tracked. They didn't just track people randomly.
This ratio pretty well follows everything that I've seen. It's usually in the 70 to 90% range.
The fact that they're more democratic, though, I wonder if that's because Twitter is so weighted against conservative speech.
There's probably an element of that,
But it's also younger people, and younger people tend to be Democrat as well.
there's definitely
But these are adult Twitters.
I mean, worldwide, it seems like all the various political parties, like some political party is always gets associated with Luddites.
Well, and like Krista says, conservative people are older overall, I think, and so the Twitter machine, they don't understand it.
Why would you do that?
They don't care about it, and neither do I. This is a terrible story, but the reason it's in the social media section is you have to remember that this happened because of a WhatsApp message. Wow.
And this article came from the Sun, so take
Okay.
from that what you
let
will.
let me address this. The Sun is the only headline I could find that referenced WhatsApp. But this is a widely reported story. They beheaded 36 people. This happened.
Yeah, so the Sun reports that this is for sending WhatsApp messages about protests. So yeah, this seems kind of extreme. Like
Kind of.
these are the U.S. allies, and it's like, oh, you sent stuff on. Like, no, this is crazy.
And this boils down probably to the Sunni Shia thing, because these guys were in the minority and they were protesting the majority, and the social media posts were about that. Then there was this other kid, same deal, and these guys were. Now here's the thing about it: these guys were under 18.
That
Oh,
Disturbing still picture.
yeah, please don't.
yeah.
No, that doesn't animate.
Well, thank goodness, but
But,
it's a little
yeah.
disturbing either way.
So, pretty horrific. You get on social media. Now, you know what? I've jokingly said we should kill people on social media. But when the reality is, I'm faced with the reality, I have to backtrack on that.
It's a little extreme,
Yeah.
even for you, I think.
Well, I think it's this episode that we have the I'm going to go ahead and spoil it because I can't remember if it's in this episode or not, but it's funny because I'm pretty sure in all of the news that we read this week, Mark Zuckerberg said, "Hey, Facebook is going to be more privacy focused like WhatsApp." And it's like,
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we already did it. It was the one about the fine.
oh, yeah, right.
Because his response to that was like, yeah, we're going to recreate ourselves and be more privacy minded.
That did not help these kids.
But I think the WhatsApp thing was one of those like mass messages where he was trying to get people to come to the protest. So I don't know if you can blame Zuckerberg for that.
But still, 36 people, just round them up. That seems...
That's how it goes over there.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we only round up one person at a time and arrest them outside of embassies. We would never do 36 at a time.
We have standards.
Or if we did, it would be via drone.
It's sad when we do robot news. Robot news is always a feel-good news, right? I mean, you see these cool robots. They have great names. And you imagine a world where it's like the Jetsons and they're going to be taking care of us and doing things for us. It's always a beautiful thought experiment. But sometimes those robots fail. And we have to report on that too, even when they have really great names.
Laundroid company folds before its giant robot does. It's all on you, Foldamate, the other company doing that.
So there it is. This was supposed to be washing machine, dryer, and folder all in one.
That's never going to happen.
A beautiful dream, right? Well, turns out, yes, they could not get it right. Foldamate is not quite so ambitious. Foldamate does smaller pieces of the process, and I think you have to go and like feed it at certain times. This was going to be full automation. They just couldn't get it done.
Combo washer dryers are popular in the tiny house community, at least from what I've seen on YouTube. And almost everyone says that they wish they hadn't done that because they never get your clothes dry. They don't work.
I think...
and that's not even like putting in the folding factor.
Are you talking about two in the same chamber?
Yeah.
Oh,
so like you wash it and then it dries it.
I can definitely see how that wouldn't work.
Yeah, they say that they usually go out after like a year or two.
The stackable units, I think, are probably the way to go because that technology has come so far that almost all of the volume now is used for washing or drying in a stackable unit.
Tiny houses use those a lot too.
Business Insider.
Oh, yeah, this is the one. I couldn't read this one. I couldn't find this one anywhere else.
Scientists created a never-ending live stream of
AI-generated death metal.
uBlock beats this, though. So I was able to read this, and I listened to the stream. I was going to ask you guys if you listened to it.
No.
And let me tell you, I'm no connoisseur of death metal.
We need
but
Zim here.
From what I've heard about death metal, that's a pretty good approximation. It's funny because the death metal, they either do like, and there's different, it's like black metal and yada, 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 but they do the witch voice or the Cookie Monster voice. That's what they do. And this was Cookie Monster voice. And you can rarely tell what Cookie Monster voice is saying in death metal because it's so guttural. But this one wasn't saying anything. It was just making noises. But you couldn't really tell because sometimes you can't tell in death metal, right?
I'm sure Zim could tell.
The AI is at toddler level intelligence. It's going to make noises, but it's going to be unintelligible.
But this music is unintelligible. That's what I'm trying to get across here. So and it would stop and it would do like little drum solos, and it was really impressive.
Listen, after my experiences with Skrillex, I would believe anything is music at this point.
Yeah, well, I would say death metal is more music than Skrillex is. Because there are people playing instruments in death metal.
They should feed this AI some death grips and see what it comes up with.
This is all based on one band, I think. So it sampled
Well,
all of one band, and then, yeah.
We should take the entire history of every video game ever and then feed it to an AI and then turn that into our music and then immediately kill ourselves because that would be terrible.
You want to take the soundtracks? That was what you're talking about?
Yeah, like just have an AI make an amalgamation of like the last 30 years of video game music. Like, what would that look like?
That would be wildly, because you would
It'd
go
be
from
very weird,
beat
yeah.
boop beat boop to full orchestral like Skyrim.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could like handpick like the top 50 games from the last 30 years.
Skyrim has tracks that are just like rain falling and stuff too on their soundtrack, so that would be very weird.
It'd be an interesting experiment. But it would also be like the most pandering thing that we've ever done.
That's what people want.
We like it when we pander.
Stupid YouTube viewers.
Stupid algorithm.
The
Patreon.com/level1.
Yeah, if you want to fight the algorithm. Sorry.
one thing that we always
Speaking of fighting the algorithm.
well, it was so ingrained in my memory. I think it's true for all of us. We always refer back to it was the banana.
There's a
With the
banana sticker, right?
The sticker. Well, no, it was a physical banana, but it had a sticker on it to trick the AI into thinking that it's not a banana. And that was so incredible. So I'm surprised it took this long for someone to come up with the idea of assigning that to human rather than banana.
Krista's working on this. No. The colorful printed patch makes you pretty much invisible to AI. But that's caveat, it's just one algorithm. So this one particular algorithm no longer recognizes that as a person because of the weird whatever that is.
It looks like a little scene.
It looks almost like, what's the pointillism painting where they're all out on the lawn?
But those are like umbrellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it right now because I'm an idiot.
They've got, that's the same one. So yeah, there's a video of it. So you see it sees chair, person, refrigerator, and this guy just can't figure out because
Black box.
adversarial image.
I wonder if his striped shirt is helping with that.
Was that what he was wearing up here?
No.
No,
Oh.
yeah, he is.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
detected in the striped shirt.
Yeah.
They switched. Smart control group. So yeah, I can see a future where you would have, it would be interesting to see how big the image has to be, right? How many adversarial image could you cram onto a square so that they're not too small that the AI can't pick up on
Do you
them?
think hackers in the future, instead of wearing like the dark cyberpunk stuff, they'll start wearing these really crazy bright colors because they don't want to be picked up?
They pointed out that I've not read it, but there's some fiction where this was already a thing. Somebody predicted this.
Oh, wasn't it they made it into a movie with Keanu Reeves? Scanner Darkly.
I can't remember, but they mentioned what
I don't watch
the name of
movies,
the
though.
book is. So yeah.
So
It's gone now.
Level 1 adversarial AI t-shirts win. Stored
Well,
on
we-
Level 1 text.
Don't
Again-
we need to like figure out what kind of the patch should look like though, or is it
And
just
it-
literally random
I
blobs?
think
But
something super high contrast.
It'll only work on that one thing. So I think you'd have to get find the 20 best AI image recognition things and,
and then run it through it.
and get 20 images and just put a grid.
I looked on GitHub already. I've got like 6 or 7 algorithms that are like basically ready to go. We can start testing next week.
We gotta do the Linux t-shirt too.
Woo!
So we talked about the Walmart robots. And at first I thought that's what this was. But no, the Walmart robots are rolling out everywhere. But Walmart, like a lot of fast food places, has like the best Walmart in the country. The one where they tested the state-of-the-art Walmart. If you're lucky enough to live here, you can go to
I like
it.
to imagine it's in the middle of like BFE.
I think it's in Indiana. Is that what they said?
Right, that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah, and Levittown, New York. And if you go there, you can experience the Walmart of the future.
It's Walmart IRL. Thank you very much. And so this picture looks normal at first. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, Walmart. And then you notice all these little black dots on the ceiling. Those are cameras.
But
Good Lord.
this is not like Amazon store. The cameras are not looking at what you pick up. Well, I'm sure they are, but not for
They
the,
absolutely are.
Yeah.
not for the purposes of charging you for it, but rather to track what's going on. So they have a good example. I don't know. I don't want extra crunch.
They have normal checkouts too.
It must have been that video
Really?
where it's like the meat department. Yeah, boom, out of stock. And then who gets a message? This guy. Ivan gets a message, and it says, Ivan, butcher a cow and restore the stock.
You know, at the local Walmart, those trays extend back into like the meat freezer, and so like when you pull out one like that,
It
a
slides
whole
forward.
line just slides forward.
Pro Walmart tip: the fresh meat's in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got
milk
all
as
these
well.
little ways of the store tracking, not so much the shopper, although again, they're definitely tracking the shopper, but they're tracking
Oh, most definitely.
stock and, who needs to go where and sort of running the employees around.
Hey, General Mills, these people have picked up your cereal box and then put it back. You need to fix your marketing.
Brighter colors.
That is, with packaging, like, one of the things I learned in school was, like, even though this looks horribly garish, like, it needs to be brighter. Brighter, bigger, crazier packaging has to be loud.
Yeah.
More so than any other type of design.
I had to include this story just because of Wendell.
Oh.
And I know I couldn't wait to get his response.
Nickelodeon's CG animated Star Trek show will follow a group of teens aboard their own ship.
Are you vomiting in your mouth right now?
Did you read the synopsis?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a bunch of kids that are like just.
They found a starship. How do you just find a starship?
Why even call it Star Trek at that point?
So I guess it's going to be kind of Lord of the Flies type situation
I doubt it'll be that dark.
on
for
a
Nickelodeon.
starship. Well, it's for kids.
What could go wrong? I would believe it if they were like Ferengi kids.
But they're supposed to be like at-risk kids, right?
Bajoran refugees. All right.
So yeah, this is in addition to the Rick and Morty creator animated Star Trek that's coming.
Oh, what about Maquis children? I would believe that. Like the Cardassians came and like killed their families, and Starfleet doesn't care, and there's just a bunch of Maquis children. Okay, that could be good.
What does this have to do
Seems
with
kind of dark.
America's
Nickelodeon.
favorite family?
There could be a way to make that plot line work, but you can guarantee that the writers will make it the worst thing possible.
I just don't see Nickelodeon executing on this.
No.
Sometimes you come up with a good business plan, but you need a .com, right? Got like, level 1 text. We came up with so many. It's like, oh, you know what would be cool? And then we look and everybody's got the domains.
Yeah.
So we just threw them right out. And what we should have done in hindsight is what this man did.
A social media entrepreneur needed a domain name, so he decided to get it at gunpoint. That did not go according to plan.
Well, it kind of did. So this guy ran some sort of college app, and he wanted the .com. He had already named it and started using it on social media, but he needed the .com. He couldn't get it. And he actually found the guy who owned it. And he contacted him, ended up going to his house and threatening him. And this guy was like, no, I'm not giving you my name. Get out of here. So what did he do? He hired a gunman. And here's the hilarious part. The gunman, as you might imagine, wasn't a technologically advanced kind of fellow. So this guy wrote down on a piece of paper how to transfer a domain, gave it to the gunman, and sent him off to get the domain transferred. It didn't go as planned. The victim, actually got the gun away from the other guy, shot him, but he lived, and then called the cops, and here he is.
Oh, things went really. I think we could turn this into an episode of Better Call Saul or something on AMC. It's like this is, with like Ermin Trout.
It's a social media guy.
It's like you did what now? It's like the what?
So this guy, what was the name of his thing? He described it as a mashup of Girls Gone Wild and Jackass.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Polo.
Is that what it was? No, Do It For State.
Oh, yeah.
DoItForState.com is what. So he was at like a state university, and I guess it would be like, do it for state, and then try to get these girls to take their tops off or something like that,
And then what, like, jump into traffic? What's the...
The Jackass part?
Yeah, what's the Jackass part?
That would be a good twist on that, wouldn't it? So yeah, he's going to do some time, and unfortunate story.
I'm a generic hot girl, and this is Jackass, and she just jumps into the street.
This is a cool invention that's going to have terrible, terrible repercussions on humanity.
Exhilarating implant turns thoughts into speech. So it's bad news. You got to implant some stuff. This isn't something you wear.
How big? There's no banana for scale, but how big do you think that chip is?
Pretty big, probably.
Yeah.
Where are you going to put that?
I think that the wires is the part that goes in your head, and then the other part's outside.
Yeah, but it would have to be under your skin, don't you think? I mean, you got to take showers.
Just the leads. There's going to be a bunch of little tiny holes that never heal correctly in your brain or in your skull.
Well, no, this goes into your jaw.
Oh, the actual square thing?
So they can't read the brain waves. They read the motions of your jaw with those.
I thought they were reading the muscle center, like the intent to move.
That might be the case, yeah. But they couldn't. They couldn't pull directly. Oh, that's right. The speech center they cannot interpret.
Yeah.
It's the motor control center that they have to get.
Yeah.
So
speech control's too deep in the brain, causes too much damage.
There is.
They did try though.
You can listen
Poor
to.
Timmy.
Yeah.
You can play an example. It's not great,
No.
but it's understandable, I guess. Better than not being able to speak. But they talk about how because they're pulling directly from the motor control parts, the machines were not good at text to speeching or speech to texting this.
Yeah.
Couldn't interpret it yet.
But they're getting better.
So when they spy on us, when they're going to have the Alexa warehouse team.
This will be good for people that are like locked in, or it's like, are they in a coma, or can they just not move? We don't know.
Yeah, like that guy from the Metallica video.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
There
I
was
was
an
thinking
episode of
Stephen
House
Hawking.
like that where a guy was locked in. And
There's
House was
a-
the only one who realized he was locked in.
There's an old movie, or it was a book or something. Anyway, and there's this guy. He gets hit by a landmine, and he's totally catatonic. But they figure out. I think he's blinking his eyes in Morse code or something. They figure out how to communicate with him, and when they finally interpret it, he's saying, "Kill me, kill me." Kill me." Name of that song is One. Fantastic video. Fortnite World Cup. Who knew that was happening?
I did not know that was happening.
Man, we're all so hip.
Total news to me. But it turns out a lot of cheaters knew.
More than 1,200 accounts have been banned for cheating in the Fortnite World Cup. That number seems kind of low.
I think that seems like it's pretty high, right? Like
200 players forfeited their prize money.
Well, 200 out of 1,200. I mean, that's a non-trivial amount. So it turns out, I think only one guy was actually using software, and they caught him in 7 minutes.
Wow.
So pretty good detection on that. Most of the people were coordinating. They were on like solo play, but they were team playing. And it turns out Fortnite has an algorithm for that. Like, I imagine if two people can see each other for a long time and aren't doing anything about it, it detects that they're teaming in solo.
What if you're just scared? Because I've done that before. It's like, I don't want to engage.
what if you're just hiding in the bathroom in PUBG
yeah.
with a single grenade in your
You
inventory?
see somebody go by and it's like an entire squad, and the one person takes out the entire squad. It's like, I'm cool with my bush. I'm just gonna hang out.
I'm
in
just
my
gonna
bush.
hide
Hope
in
they
here.
don't notice me.
Yeah, well, maybe you'd have to be both, like the two of you engaging a third party, but not each other. I don't know. I'm sure there's more to it than that. But anyway, they have ways of finding these things out, and they switched around some prize money, and like after the fact, went back and found cheaters and changed
That
something.
is impressive. I have no confidence in Blue Hole or the PUBG people to be able to do the same kind of thing.
Or even Overwatch.
They-
Overwatch people, they all get banned. They don't get banned. They don't even get punished for it. They all boost.
They
They
would
sell their services as boosters.
Blue Hole was at the total mercy of China the entire
Yeah.
time. I don't know if they still are. They probably all moved to Fortnite or Apex Legends.
We should go back to PUBG now that all the hackers are gone.
But see, the thing about it is, the only people who are left are the hardcore. So we would just be,
Cannon fodder.
yeah, they would just be having their way with us, as if they weren't already.
we would get occasional wins, or we'd get like to the final 10 every now and then. We weren't great, but it was still fun.
No.
Avengers Endgame came out this week, and it made a lot of money. Wendell, you think you're the only one who's seen it?
It's okay. I mean, it wraps up the story, but
It's like you've seen one Marvel movie, you've seen them all.
I really could have waited. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like Iron Man 3 bad, but it was. It could have been. I mean, it was fine.
Have you seen Venom?
No, I haven't seen Venom.
I bet it's better than Venom.
It's probably better than Venom.
You're
from
just
what
a
I've heard.
turd.
Well,
That's
so
a real line in Venom.
since you're the only one who's seen it, maybe can you imagine how you would have felt if it had been spoiled for you as you were in line?
Man in Hong Kong reportedly beaten up outside cinema for leaking Avengers Endgame spoilers. I'm okay. Having seen the movie, I'm having a hard time imagining what he might have said that I had not already guessed.
I'm the kind of person who seeks out spoilers, so I can't imagine being angry enough to beat anybody.
But
Over spoilers.
I mean, I don't know how much correlation there is, but the Thanos storyline has already played out in the comic books years ago. So
There was only one very small twist.
spoiler.
Spoiler.
So, I mean,
Well, this guy was beaten. I don't know why he was doing it, but they interviewed some of the other people after this happened, and most of them seemed to be on the side of the attackers.
That's kind of crazy. Well, that same thing happened several years ago when one of the last Harry Potter books was released, and someone like went outside the bookstore at midnight and screamed, "Well, I don't want to ruin Harry Potter, but it was a big reveal. I think it was book 6.
You know what ruins Harry Potter?
Harry Potter.
The printing press. Krista, you mentioned that you were growing potatoes.
I'm going to, yeah. I'm waiting for them to seed out more. so
How
they've got
would
more
you
roots.
feel? Let's say you raise your potatoes, you love them, they're here, and Pepsi comes at gunpoint and takes your potatoes.
I'd be furious.
PepsiCo is suing 4 Indian farmers for using its patented Lay's potatoes. So
Screw those guys.
it seems like, although the story is not clear, thanks Reuters, that these farmers were previously growing potatoes for Pepsi. They saved the seeds, stopped growing the potatoes for Pepsi. It has been engineered by Pepsi to require less moisture because apparently turning it into potato chips helps if the moisture content of the potato is lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that makes
So
sense.
it does. I don't know. The article doesn't make it clear if the farmers originally worked for Pepsi or if Pepsi was just saying, since you already are growing our potatoes, we'll just buy the potatoes from you. But if you don't want to buy the potatoes, if you don't want to sell us the potatoes, then you can't sell them to anybody. I don't know which thing. Both things could be true, or just one of the two things. I don't know.
But how terrifying. We've talked about GMO a little bit on the Level 1 News, and I think a lot of people, when they look at the non-GMO labeling, they think, oh, GMO is bad for me. There's something wrong with it in my body. But to say that items like that are genetically modified, I mean, since Mendel.
Yeah.
Everything's been genetically modified.
Yeah. I mean,
all those different hybrid tomato plants, like.
Or even the
all modern wheat plants.
The banana.
Yeah. No seeds in the banana.
Banana was full of seeds. So,
what type of manipulation are we talking about here? Like the cutting and splicing like Mendel or CRISPR? Because those are different in people's minds. When people see GMO, they think that there's like a CRISPR virus that's like rewriting stuff when sometimes it's just selective breeding.
well, they do have, isn't there a corn that's got some sort of insect?
Oh, yeah, the
Parts
Roundup
in
Ready.
it.
Yeah, that's the
'Cause-
Monsanto thing.
Because they figured out the insects were good against the pesticides. So they're like, put that in the corn. Maybe that's a little questionable. But the thing about genetic modification that's bad isn't necessarily the manipulation. It's the business model.
The ethical quality of it.
Somehow these potatoes. It is true that these farmers did not steal potatoes from Pepsi. They might
Right.
have been growing potatoes for Pepsi, and they saved the seeds and grew a new batch. In which case, maybe there's a violation there, or
Well, with the Roundup Ready stuff, you sign a contract.
as has happened here in the United States, there have been a couple farmers who've never grown Roundup Ready anything, but because of their natural pollinators, neighboring farms would pollinate, somebody else's farm, and they weren't originally growing that variety, but because that the protected variety was growing next to another farm, the farmer that was growing stuff not from that source would start to have the genetic markers from that source just because plants interbreed. That's a thing that happens naturally.
Well, not only that, but it turns out the GMO plants that you splice in superpowers into outbreed the normie plants.
Turns out.
More
So
disease resistant. They're fantastic.
Listen, it's not our problem if farmers have to constantly genetically test their crops to be sure that they don't infringe on our
and
patents.
just throw away food. if they
Yeah.
have them. What do you think happens to these potatoes? Do they destroy them, or do they actually make potato chips out of them?
Well, if they sell them to Pepsi, they're going to make stuff out of them. But Pepsi is saying if you won't sell them to us, they're worthless. You have to destroy them. So
How terrible would that be if they were like dependent on that as like one of their food sources?
What? No, it's they mentioned that the potato is the number one consumed vegetable in India.
Potatoes are delicious. And
They
they're pretty
are.
easy to grow.
They're easy to make, like taste like anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
kind
why
of
I
a
like
neutral,
them. Yeah.
just a starch,
Yeah.
filling. Well,
So excited. I hope mine grow well.
sad. I hope yours don't turn out to be.
Pepsi potato.
Genetically
I don't think they
modified.
are, but they're a Yukon Gold.
Level 1s cannot absorb that kind of legal cost. The measles. That's
Ugh.
something you don't hear about very often, is it?
Except you do anymore.
Hundreds of people at 2 LA universities are quarantined because of a measles exposure.
This is so stupid that this is even happening.
Not really much to talk about here.
Yeah.
People aren't vaccinated.
Turns out if you got your measles vaccine before 89, it may be time to re-up.
Yeah, that means I'm at risk.
Post 89 master race over here. I don't have
Sad.
to re-up.
I'd be so pissed if I got measles because some stupid kid.
Well, it's not necessarily a kid. It could be anybody who's unvaccinated,
kid.
or that herd. It's that herd immunity though. It goes down once a certain number of people aren't vaccinated
Which is why those people should be
because it
weeded out.
mutates.
They should
Anyway.
be beheaded. I'm kidding.
That's it's a little too far.
It would normally be funny, but with our lead story, it's just terrible.
Yeah, it's a little sad.
Let's talk about. Did we cover this before? I kind of remember it. I don't know if we did or not.
No, I don't
I don't
think
remember this.
so. I think
But-
we were waiting on the verdict.
I think distracted driving has become a big revenue generator,
Yes.
the same as speeding. Although I will admit, some people do take others' lives in their hands when driving by using.
You have to admit, I've gotten much better.
We do not have to admit that.
Better. You are better about it. There was a time where you were checking email a lot.
Well, I've never seen you eat a hash brown. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Motorist has won the hash brown versus cell phone trial in Connecticut. So this guy was cited for distracted driving, and he says he was eating a hash brown. And he's won his case. Well, he didn't win his case so much as the case was dismissed for lack of evidence.
Yeah,
and it probably cost him thousands of dollars.
But the ruling was that cop could not prove that he wasn't eating a hash brown instead of talking on his phone. You think he was one of those phone talkers where he like holds it out in front and does the speaker? I hate those people.
I do that sometimes.
He's
I'm an
talking to his
asshole.
hash brown.
You shouldn't do that.
I do it usually if I'm driving or something. Like I'll keep it like that. So
That's not okay. You
I'm
know,
not
like,
looking
that
at it.
doesn't make it okay to do that.
if I could put it, I don't have anywhere else to put it where it's close enough like my mom can hear me because it's only my mom I talk to on the phone.
Well, this would be a good time to remind everybody to check out the video of the guy in the Tesla where the policeman pulls over the Tesla person and is like, "You can't have your computer mounted in the center console like
He's
that."
like, that's not what that is though.
And it's like this car is completely factory. It's the Model 3. That's what it is.
Here's the question though: has that cop pulled over some guy in the past who just had a Chromebook with hentai on it?
Yeah.
mounted at the-
It's like I'm just catching up on my soaps here in the
story-
center while I'm going through
The
this.
story made me think of that scene in Always Sunny where he's like eating the cereal while driving.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, dumb bitch," and then he like crashes. I think he crashes into Frank. Maybe I
Yeah.
can't remember which one of the gang it was.
Now, Krista, not only did you have a potato story, but right before we started this, you mentioned a weird pregnancy product story.
Oh yeah, so one of my friends from church is pregnant, and she put this picture of this thing that she wants to buy, and she's wondering if anyone had one. It's like an inflatable pillow, but it's got a hole in the middle for where your belly, so you can sleep face down. And I was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
But
then I didn't see this story.
Yeah, definitely not the craziest pregnancy item you've ever seen as of today.
Company creates tampon-shaped speakers so unborn babies can listen to music. All right then.
Let's take a look at it. There it is. It's pink.
That's not. Wait, that's not really tampon-shaped.
I think that's the speaker which then seals into this chamber, and this
Where's the delivery device?
It's in the middle
it's
picture.
more of a. You're right. It's not a tampon shape.
It's not.
It's
That's
more of like a
it's a
teardrop.
misnomer in the title.
You can't zoom these, which
Though it has a hover effect, implying that you could, in fact, interact with it in some way.
unfortunate, but yeah.
Web design pro tip: your analytics scripts are interfering with your on-page JavaScript.
Oh,
bet
you
that's
know what?
true.
You know what? We can go directly to the
It's loading. Baby pod.
music is life.
No, ball is life.
Oh, that's unpleasant.
that picture is.
This
not-
website is terrible.
Ooh, it's
the
Oh,
analytics
it's
scripts
so
are it's
bad.
struggling.
Okay, there's a. Well, that's in the box. Is this it? Oh, it's much smaller than I expected.
a tampon's not huge.
But I mean, that's just a little. I mean, that's like the size of a gumball. What is that piece?
I don't know.
You don't want to.
Oh.
That is a known thing, though. Like, they've done studies where, like, the father should talk to the baby and the mom should talk to the baby, and, like,
Well, here's
they
what-
say even putting classical music on the outside works fine. I don't know why shoving
No.
it into the uterus makes it better or worse. But
These guys claim that. So they studied the womb, and the baby did not respond to external belly music.
the
at
people
all.
who are selling it did their study.
Well,
Uh,
and but if you go in through the exit, then the baby will
front door.
totally react to the music that you're playing. Now here, Krista, this is the burning question: what music would Krista's baby listen to?
Death Grips hacker. Just kidding, no. I don't know. Probably
could
we
do
probably
the-
do like instrumental, like the Skyrim soundtrack or
You
something.
could do the
something
AI,
calming.
the 24-hour death metal AI live stream.
Yeah.
What was the one? What was the song? It was like a kid's song that was like the carnivorous earwig that goes in your brain and just stays there. It was a couple of weeks ago on the news. It was like you said something, and there were like 50 people in the
Baby
chat.
Shark.
Yeah, it was like
My younger
thanks.
cousin, he's really little. He's like a year old, and he listens to Baby Shark all the time.
So if you do that, I mean, you're just gonna get a serial killer immediately.
I've seen so many memes
I would
about
do
that.
instrumental music, I think.
What's
would
that?
be-
What's Baby Shark from?
I don't know where it's from, but we used to sing it when I was like at summer camp when I was a kid. Like that was a song we sang together. And then all of a sudden, like a few months ago, it got really popular again because someone made a YouTube video of it. So I don't know. I don't know where it originated from.
Well, if you want a cool kid, you gotta go classic rock, right?
But see, when I'm dealing with that, like when I'm pregnant, all I'm thinking about is how I don't want the kid kicking my ribs.
Oh,
So I'm gonna be playing like calming music.
what if you did the 24-hour death metal live stream and he was just doing like a double bass?
Yeah,
all
like
the
just
time?
right in. Oh no.
Just your like he's got his legs are spread, one on each kidney, and he's
And
just,
it's just
just double bass.
banging.
Well, next week I'm going to be at PingoCon, so you guys are going to have to do the news.
Oh.
Oh, could there be alcohol involved?
If I can find some more port wine. I
Well-
can't find any more of that kind that we like that we drank on stream that one night.
Well, I guess you're gonna have 10 million port recommendations.
Oh, that's fine. I drank
Engagement
Graham's
challenge.
last time. That was the one that the guy at the liquor store recommended to me. It was good.
Oh, so you can talk to liquor store employees, but not cheese counter employees.
Well,
Is that-
my fiance was with me.
Oh,
So it was a little, like, we were both awkward, but it was like shared awkwardness, so it was okay.
okay. We'll see you then.
All right.